Hello, everyone. It's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and welcome to Wasteland Talks, my weekly talk show where I talk about whatever the hell I want. And this is going to be a sad discussion because we're going to be pouring one out for the box office so far in 2024, which has been shit in the bed. Even Denis Villeneuve's like, I'm sad my movie's still number one at the box office that came out months ago. And we're in the summer already. And to chat this sad, sad state of affairs is my buddy Rod. Rod, thank you so much for coming on.
Well, Shane, this was inevitable because you and I have been talking about this for it feels like all year. Just the saddest day of the box office. So, I've got my Coke Zero here and my Dakota Johnson mug.
Because
So I'm excited. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
as of right now, the number one film of the year is indeed Dune Part 2,
Yes.
which was a 2.5 hour plus hard science fiction film. Not what you generally would think would be the highest grossing film of the year. And this film made what, like at this point, it's been $700
710?
million worldwide,
Yeah. 710 million? 711? Somewhere in that time in that
close to
range.
712, it looks like.
Yeah.
And then Godzilla Kong, 568 ish.
Which,
Uh,
which, if we're looking at it from a positive standpoint, is the highest grossing film in the MonsterVerse. So
mhm.
there is that.
So that franchise is thriving,
Yes.
which is interesting. Kung Fu Panda 4 made $543 million, which I remember when it came out, people were like, this is kind of disappointing. And then it just kept going. Why? Because they didn't have shit for kids for
That's heck, there was
months.
nothing else out for kids to go see.
Literally nothing for months. So Kung Fu Panda was eating well. And then Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes been chugging along at $362 million worldwide, which good for that, having good legs. Big Apes fan myself. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which I forgot came out this year. At this point, is the only other film to crack $200 million so far worldwide, which is
Yeah.
sad. Made
Yeah.
201. But the Garfield movie, which is chugging along, is at 181, which we'll see if this falls off a cliff a bit because Inside Out 2 comes out this week as we're recording. That Bob Marley movie made 179. The Fall Guy is up to 166 worldwide, almost 100% because of Rod.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you. Thank you.
yep,
Thank you. Thank you.
single-handedly making
Thank
that
you.
movie money.
You're
Even
welcome.
if has crawled up to $163 million. The number 10 highest grossing film of the year so far is The Beekeeper.
Ah, this is just domestically. That's right. Okay, we're just speaking to because
No, this is worldwide.
I know there's some international films that have crossed
Well,
the
this
top
one
10 worldwide.
particular worldwide box office ranking did not include them.
That's
So
fine.
thanks,
That's
Box
fine.
Office Mojo.
That's fine.
No, The Beekeeper, and hopefully Furiosa could at least pass that. God, Challengers, the extremely steamy, sexy love triangle homoerotic tennis movie, has made almost as much money as Furiosa. That's where we're at in this timeline.
Now,
Bad
I'm
Boys
actually
Ride or
happy.
Die's creeping up fast though.
That
I'm
that'll
like
that'll
this.
cross 200 million soon. Bad Boys. Yeah.
Hey, Madam Web made $100 million worldwide somehow. Oh, here it is. Exuma, which is a really creepy, unnerving Korean horror film, has made $97 million worldwide. Made nothing here, but made $97 million. And you have stuff like Argyle, Crashed and Burned. Like, there's a lot of films that just have not been doing well. And I think the scariest stat that I saw was for the month of April, there was not a single weekend domestically, the total box office, all the films that came out, cracked $85 million dollars any
Well,
weekend.
when you look back at the films that opened up in April, right? Monkey Man, Challengers, um, Civil War, which is still in my top five films of the year. I love Civil War. But none of those, Shane, scream, we need to go see this in the movies. On For us, it does. But we make up us film fans make up a very, very small portion of the box office, right?
100%. And to be frank, for me, a lot of the times I'm not even contributing to the box office anymore for a lot of movies because, like, I go to press screenings and I get screening links, and like, I'm not part of that equation very often.
Yeah.
Um, but like, it sucks to think about. And turn back the clock 1 year, Super Mario Brothers was steamrolling through April last year, making bank. So just one movie made such a huge difference. And I'm wondering, like, are we like, when are we gonna get a Super Mario Brothers? When are we gonna get an Oppenheimer or a Barbie this year? And realistically, it's Inside Out 2, it's Minions, and it's Deadpool and Wolverine. That's it.
I
Oh,
would still
sorry,
throw
I forgot Venom. Because
I would still throw in Joker just because the first one made 1 billion. That
that'll be interesting, but now this one's a musical.
right, which is gonna turn off some people, but it's also gonna bring in another audience. So it's I don't know if it's gonna even out, Shane, because there is that batch of fans that are hardcore musical fans who are gonna go see this. But
Well, that's the
then
thing, if people know it's a musical too.
I think if anyone saw that first trailer, they should know it's gonna be a musical. So we'll have to wait and see.
Well, people didn't realize Mean Girls was going to be a musical, and they were not happy about it.
No, they were not.
Which I feel like Wonka is like one of the only musicals to make money in the past few years.
Yeah,
There's
I still
very
haven't seen Wonka.
there you go. And Rod didn't even contribute to it. So it's just one of those things where it's just like I feel like each year something's just not clicking anymore. Why are
Yeah,
people not going to the movies? Let's see. One, it's too expensive. How do you solve that? Just inflation's going up. That's a challenge. So prices are just naturally going to go up. Too many companies are overinflating prices and blaming inflation. So that's a challenge. But it's a production studios. The fact that they keep pumping out 200, $300 million movies that have no right having that budget. Like, why was Argyle $200 million?
I have no idea.
So, perfect example Apple, Killers of the Flower Moon, $200 million. Napoleon, $200 million. Argyle, $200 million. You just spent $600 million making three movies, and none of them made money.
Yeah,
I get it. You're Apple. You have a lot of cash on hand, but like, what are you doing? It's a it's a it's a game of escalation that's never going to get fixed. Like, why would you make an Ant-Man sequel that costs close to $300 million? That's not gonna make money. Ridley Scott, what are you doing? Your Gladiator 2 movie's close to $300 million because you keep going over budget. That's never gonna make its money back. No way in hell. I love Blade Runner 2049, I love Fury Road, and I love Furiosa. Were those good financial decisions by Warner Brothers? No. Fury Road barely made a profit. Furiosa's not going to make a profit, and Blade Runner was a disaster.
So, in regards to Mad Max and Furiosa, I think us film fans tend to forget sometimes that even though we in the film community, we cherish Furiosa as one of the greatest action films of all time. I mean, heck, Shane, it's my number three action movie of all time. That movie is phenomenal. I
My number
love that
two
movie.
movie, period, of all time
There you
for me.
go. There you go. And I'm finally gonna see Furiosa probably next week, as I was telling you. Um, if it doesn't get overtaken by Inside Out 2 screenings, that is.
100%.
But yeah, I think we tend to forget that it's not that franchise is not a big money maker.
Mm-mm.
And the fact that Furiosa even got or we got another movie in this Mad Max universe was, I want to say surprising, Shane, because Mad Max Fury Road was phenomenal. But for that budget, I yikes.
And Furiosa cost more money than Fury Road did. It cost $160 million. Fury Road cost 150. But like, and Fury Road had a lot more watchability.
Yes.
It's 2 hours. It's lean. It's thrilling from start to finish. Furiosa is a 2.5 hour epic that is weird as hell. Both of them were weird as hell, but like one of them just propelling action from start to finish. That's more exciting and to watch in the theater than like going through this strange, weird, crazy post-apocalyptic Australian epic. It's just one of those kinds of things where it's just like, why would you green like this? Like, I'm happy that you did, but like, I'm also I have a master's in accounting. Like, I'm just like, who's making these decisions? And I don't get the decisions that they're making, but in the end, they need to lean down these budgets. They need to rein them in. I forget, was it the creator of American Fiction was the one that said instead of making one $200 million movie, make 10, $20 million movies.
Right. Yeah, no, that was him. That was him who said that. And I think the budget is definitely a contributing factor, Shane, but I don't think it's the problem with why the box office is it is what it is. I think there's a few other things before budgets that are go into it. I think one, we have to go all the way back to the start of the decade when we had COVID. And we have been, or streamers have conditioned us now, or majority of audiences that, you know, hey, certain movies are gonna be on streaming in about a month and a half anyway. Why wait? Why go to
Though
theaters?
the studios need to rework those contracts because I saw people complain, it's like, why would you release this 17 days later? It's in the contracts that they signed during COVID to if our film does not make $50 million opening weekend box office, it will release on VOD in 17 days.
Yeah.
That's the deal. Paramount of that's the deal that Universal has 100%. So any Universal film that doesn't crack
Oh,
$50 million
Fall
opening
Guy.
weekend,
Sorry. Yep, excuse me. Excuse me. Sorry there, Shane. Sorry, excuse me.
like they're even occasionally co-releasing things on Peacock still, day and date. It's just like, what are you doing? So Universal, that's ridiculous. You have Paramount. Any Paramount film is going to release on Paramount Plus in I think 30 to 45 days.
That happened with Bob Marley. I know Mission
Mhm.
Impossible waited, but that's because Mission Impossible made money and
That's
Tom
because
Cruise.
Tom Cruise was going to murder somebody
Exactly.
if they did anything like that. But Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise, and he could get away with that.
Right. And I also think, Shane, too, and this is something I haven't really brought up on my own podcast yet, but in getting prepared for this episode, I had to think about it for a little bit. We, I don't think audiences anymore are I think audiences now Shane are only interested in the event films,
Mhm.
your comic book movies, your Inside Outs, your Shane. Let's go back to last year, okay? Oppenheimer. What was the big thing we saw in the marketing? See this on the biggest screen possible. And what did we see for weeks? IMAX and Dolby showings sold out. IMAX 70 millimeter screenings
Yep.
sold out for weeks. I mean, I had already seen the movie before I saw the 70 millimeter IMAX cut, but we had to wait like 3 weeks before we could go see it. It's crazy.
My fifth Sith Pop pals and I waited on the app all day when tickets came out for Oppenheimer to get Lincoln Square AMC tickets that first Friday on the biggest screen in the country.
Yeah. I mean, it was nuts, Shane.
And it was worth it.
Like I say, opening night, right? That Thursday night. Me and one of my best friends, we went and saw it. Um, and when we were waiting to get tickets, this isn't even one of the best IMAX screens. She calls it Limax. Whatever. Sold out. Sold out in about like 20 minutes. Nuts. It's like a 5 o'clock showing. I hate going to movies at 5 o'clock, but it was a 5 o'clock showing. Sold out.
It's funny because 5 o'clock's ideal for me. Like I'd rather go to a 5 o'clock showing than anything after it.
That's
I'll be
funny.
seeing Inside Out 2 tomorrow at 5:30 on
You know,
a
shit, that's funny
Thursday.
because I think I'm seeing it either at 5:30 or 6:30 tomorrow. So
But you're right. It's event films that are getting people to the theaters, and it's very few films that are getting people in large droves to the theater.
yep.
I feel like Bad Boys has the added bonus of a very specific demographic of Black Americans wanting to have that representation. Like it's Will Smith and Martin Lawrence. It's
Yeah.
Bad Boys. I went to go. I got at a invited as press to an early screening, and it was a large portion of Black audiences, and they were very into it and having a blast from start to
Event,
finish.
event film. It
Yep.
was an event.
Yeah.
Martin Lawrence and Will Smith marketed this as like the boys are back,
Yep.
ride or die. We're doing, come see our film plus the whole Will Smith thing. So, I mean, plus I
Taking
heard the
Will
movie was a
Smith
lot of
back.
fun. Exactly. Taking Will Smith back. And the movie did well, made $56 million opening weekend.
Yeah.
Um,
It made its budget worldwide in one weekend.
exactly.
So bam.
So that's the thing with, going back to that conversation about April films, right? Monkey Man was not marketed as an event film. Civil War was not marketed as well, Civil War kind of was, but
But also Civil War was a hard sell.
it
And
was
it's like I was worried about that film coming out in general, just in the present climate that our country
for
is in.
A24 standards, though. It did very well. It is now the second highest
Yes.
grossing A24 film.
Yep.
So,
100%.
but you know, going back to what I was saying, like that whole like us going to movies every week, that those days have come and gone because of what you said earlier. Movies are expensive.
Yep.
And not
And
everyone has an AMC A-list like you and I do, Shane.
and I not to throw shade at the almighty AMC.
Yeah, yeah,
All the
watch your
AMCs that
mouth.
I go to are shit. Like they don't have the money to update these theaters. A lot of them are understaffed. And
Yeah,
it and specifically the AMCs that I go to in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, they're not great. See mice all the time in some of them and stuff like that. Like the one near my home that's reclining seats, I see a mouse every other movie that I see
that's
there.
that's 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 great because I'm dealing with that with one of my AMC's I have close to me, Shane, and not the mice problem, but it's like a revolving door of employees. Like
Yep.
the staff is always changing. Back in 2019, back when I was seeing Endgame every day, Shane, I was I was high-fiving employees. I knew everybody. After COVID, that those days were gone.
Yeah, and AMC's in particular don't have the money to reinvest into them. The Regals that I've been to, Regals look nice, but
Anyway,
still.
next topic.
But the thing is, it's like in general, the movie going experience is not the greatest. And also, not to throw shade at other people too, but like most people are shit audience members.
I I've had a few bad theater experiences. I haven't had any lately that I can say was really bad. Um, I'll get the occasional some teenagers are talking during the movie, but at that point, I probably if it's a movie I love, like The Fall Guy, I've already seen it probably two or three times already, so it doesn't bother me as much. But like, my buddy and I, we went to go see The Strangers opening night, and horror crowds are different. Yeah, everyone's always engaged and stuff, but God, I had these two girls down below just, and I'm like, but you just shut up. Damn.
Wait 17 days and go talk your asses off at home when you watch it.
Speaking of which, The Strangers is actually now out now on digital. So
It is. It probably could have got dumped there to begin with.
it
It's
will.
just,
Yeah.
it's frustrating. And it's a perfect storm of things coming together to make this like, it's a bad situation. And it really makes me question how much longer can the present model and approach of things be sustained. And also, there's one other thing. There's so many damn movies that come out.
There's that. We're still dealing with the after effects a little bit from COVID in terms of things getting delayed and pushed back. And then also we just had this writer's strike, which is pushing things back. So it felt like in the first half of this year, there wasn't a lot of big films aside from maybe your Dunes and your Godzilla X Kongs. So I think the real telling is what's going to happen the second half of the year. Now that we've got Inside Out 2 coming out, now that we've got Deadpool coming out, Despicable Me, Joker. Uh, we'll see how Gladiator 2 does, Shane. That movie can make some Wicked. We'll see how it moves because I think Wicked can make some money. I think that's the sneaky that could be a hit film of the year.
I hope it is, to be honest. I was really pulling for the color purple too when that came out. I
Yeah.
think Wicked has a much bigger upside,
Yes,
but
it
also
does.
cost a shit ton of money.
Hmm.
So like that's the issue. Is like make some of these movies smarter.
There's also one other thing we should talk about too,
Mhm.
because I'm kind of going through it right now. Also, is this that we are in an incredible time, Shane, for streaming shows. And I feel like right now people are leaning more towards that than movies
Television.
right now. Yeah, I mean, because these
It's the
television shows have become more
50s
like
all
movies.
over again.
Well, I'm going through a couple of shows right now. I think I'm done with the debate. Shane. I think Apple TV Plus is the best damn streaming service we have right now. The
They're just
quality,
cooking.
I mean, I just watched the first episodes of what is it, Presumed Innocent with Jake
Oh,
Gyllenhaal. Oh my goodness.
well, and they have big ass movie stars in all these too. And
Thank yes. I mean, Dark. I mean, I know he's not a big movie star, but Joel Edgerton's got this. Got Dark Matter, which I'm
Colin
going through right now.
Farrell has
Yeah,
Sugar.
Sugar. Yep.
And it's just like that's a big point too, because think about what are people most excited about for June? The
House of Dragon.
Boys and
Boys.
House of the Dragon.
100%.
I feel like they're probably more anticipated than any movie coming out.
100%. Now next month will be dominated by Deadpool and Wolverine, even though that's at the end of the month. But that next one, it'll be dominated by the marketing, the final marketing push for that, and how much money are those damn minions going to be making. But June, other than Inside Out Sushi, which is my number two most anticipated
Oh,
film of
and
the
the
year.
Bear also comes out at the end of.
Exactly. Other than Inside Out Sushi, which is my second most anticipated film of the year, a lot of stuff I'm hyped for right now. Boys, House of Dragon, Acolyte, which is
We
it's
have
okay.
a
The
weekend in
Bear.
June
Hmm.
where the two movies coming out are The Bike Riders and The Exorcism.
Oh
June
yeah.
21st.
Oh yeah. That's right. That's right.
The Bike Riders is not a movie that's getting buzz.
Nope.
And The Exorcism is some random horror film starring Russell Crowe that has nothing to do with the Pope's Exorcist that he was in last
Isn't there
year.
something else coming out that weekend, Shane? I feel like we're missing one other film.
Well, Kinds of Kindness is coming out in
Oh,
New York and LA,
that's right. Limited release. That's right. That's right. That's
and
right.
Daddy-O's coming out in limited release, but those are smaller movies.
Yep.
Like Yorgos Lanthimos is not a big box office draw. His shit's weird.
Very
Too
weird.
weird for most audiences, like my mother, who forced herself to come with me to watch Killing of the Sacred Deer, which is a horrible experience to watch with your mother.
Yes. Great film though. Great film.
But that's the thing. There's great films, there's exciting auteur films, and like realistically, and I hope that all those dads out there go see Horizon American Saga.
You know they are.
Each of those parts are over 3 hours apiece. So, like, I really hope The Quiet Place Day One makes some really good money at the end of the month. But like,
I don't know, Shane. I'm not nervous, but I'm skeptical on how much money the movie's gonna make. I am skeptical.
well, it doesn't have the star pat. Like, it doesn't have the built. Like, we already felt a connection with John Krasinski and Emily Blunt with a sequel, which saved Memorial Day during COVID.
Yeah, that's right. It did. Yep. That and Cruella. That's right. I remember that. That was a good weekend actually. For post-COVID
Post.
terms. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, we were actually still kind of in COVID, but whatever.
2022 was still COVID affected, especially with all the variants and stuff. 2023 was the first year where we finally were out.
Yeah.
And what felt like it should have been a normal year of movie going. But still, we only had $2 million crack $1 billion.
Yeah, Super Mario Bros. And Barbie. That's right.
Yep.
Oppenheimer almost did
Oppenheimer
it.
was like so close.
Yep,
The
Oppenheimer almost did it.
Guardians 3 didn't even crack.
Guardians 3 unfortunately came out at a time where people are,
All dejected.
yeah, from the
Probably.
MCU because 2022 was not the best year for Marvel. And it's coming off a very disappointing Ant-Man film. So
And that's a
there's that.
shame because like even like Multiverse of Madness and Thor Love and Thunder were making a shit ton of money opening weekend.
Yeah, well, Multiverse of Madness almost made $1 billion. I still think the movie's like really good. I enjoy the hell out of that
Me
movie.
too.
Thor: Love and Thunder, not so much. But with Guardians, I think, like I said, the fact that it was kind of in the middle of this whole fans being over Marvel, whatever. And let's not forget that movie is heavy. That is a heavy movie. And I've talked to some friends who are, just kind of work on the casual side. They saw it once and they're like, I can't see it again. I was like, I understand. It's a hard watch. It is.
Yeah,
So
it's one of those kinds of things where it's like something needs to give. Marvel needs to kick itself back into gear, and I really hope Deadpool and Wolverine are the catalyst to do so.
if Deadpool and Wolverine is on the same, I think Deadpool and Wolverine is gonna be what a lot of fans thought Multiverse of Madness was going to be. And so if it's even on the same level as the quality of those first Deadpool movies, it'll be fine. I think.
I am concerned about Captain America and Thunderbolts.
I'm more concerned about Thunderbolts than Cat 4. I think Cat 4 will be fine because I think they're gonna market Cat 4 as almost like a
Another Avengers movie,
pseudo Avengers movie. Yeah,
just like the last Captain America movie.
exactly. Because they
But
know it's not Chris Evans, it's Anthony Mackie, so they're gonna market this as a pseudo.
God, Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
I'm a little like they're still changing stuff significantly in these reshoots with Giancarlo Esposito just like popping in. I don't know if this rumor was right, but they wrote out all the um Serpent Society
I
and
heard that.
replaced it with Giancarlo Esposito at the beginning of the movie, apparently, which
Yeah, I heard about that.
adds some crazy stuff.
Because I'm disappointed because I'm excited for Anthony Mackie to kind of have this leading man cat in a big
This
studio
movie's not
film.
going to be about him.
It's not.
No. And
It's
that's a
not.
shame. It's all going to be about a bunch of Hulks.
It's gonna be about some Hulks. It's gonna be about the new Avengers team.
Yep.
So,
Uh, it'll be interesting. And DC, they really need some wins.
well, I've been saying whenever then I bring up DC and James Gunn's DCU. I think it's good at DC, other than, of course they have Joker coming up this year, but Joker's going to make money because the first people saw the first Joker, and whether they loved it or not, people went back to go see it again. It was a talking point. It was a discussion. And I think the Lady Gaga factor too, she will bring in a little bit more audience as well. But like you
Mhm.
also said, attract some people because of the musical aspect.
Yep.
But I think Superman Legacy next year is the probably the most important film to come out next year because if that film was
Make
bad,
or break.
yep, if that film is bad, oh boy, is DC in trouble.
Yes.
They
Yes,
are in
yes, yes.
trouble.
They would need to like take a step back and just be like, we need to stop for a while and let Matt Reeves cook. Oh, you want his Batman movies? I want his Batman movies. That's specifically what I want out of DC right now. But there's a lot of franchises that just are dying, like Transformers and Fast and Furious are just not making the amount of money.
It's funny you
And
bring up
also,
those two because it feels like after Age of Extinction, people learn their lesson from Transformers and are like they're kind of done. And then with Fast and Furious, I think people are just kind of. I think Fast Nine took a lot of people out of the franchise.
Fast 10 sure ended so well. Lionsgate. Suzanne Collins comes out and announces a new book. And then the next Lionsgate Edward.
Well, think about it now because there are other. I mean, because there's no more Katniss stories to tell. Uh, they just killed off their boy John Wick in Chapter 4, and they're gonna do spin-offs, which are
Their two franchises are John Wick and Hunger Games. So like they're gonna milk them to death.
exactly this. So we're gonna get a whole bunch of spin-offs with John Wick. And look, I didn't think I actually enjoyed the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Was it as good as like Catching Fire or no? But I thought it was actually I had a good time.
I think for John Wick, they're gonna wind up having to do like John Wick, the ballerina, and really push that Keanu Reeves is in the movie.
That's why I think the movie got pushed back a year. I think they're gonna add more John Wick scenes to that movie, unfortunately.
100%. It's just it's we'll have to see how the rest of this year shakes out, but things need to change. I think they need to rein in these budgets that are getting out of control. They need to invest in making the experience feel more valuable to people. And they need to change these agreements that they have with VOD and streaming services.
I'm
And
gonna play devil's advocate just for a second with the studios though,
mhm,
because if I'm an exec at Universal and I do see that my movie The Fall Guy is not making money, after a couple weeks, I I'm not saying I agree, but I can understand why they'll say, let's take it out or let's lessen the amount of screens.
Yeah, but at what point is it not making money because people know it's going to be on streaming?
That's why I don't agree because when they find out it's on streaming, oh shit, we don't have to go see it in theaters. But that being said, even though it did hit streaming, it still stayed strong in the box office for a couple weeks in the
That
top
is
five.
true. It had some legs still after it
It
was
did.
on VOD. It's just it looks like movies have to start going back to what they used to be. They didn't have insane opening weekends for a lot of movies. Movies had legs.
Yes.
And they're going back to my point of being too many movies out there. I think there's too many movies just in even pre-COVID and writer strike. There's just too many movies coming out and there's no legs. You have no space to like grow. And like how did Titanic become the highest grossing film of all time? Because it just kept making money like every single week. And how did Avatar do it? Avatar opened to a number and made more second weekend. Like that's how movies were really making that much money. Now it's all front loaded. It's too front loaded.
Front load, and it's also word of mouth. Like word of mouth is big these days, Shane. You know,
Mhm.
I think about Top Gun Maverick. Even my mom, who hates Tom Cruise, it was like my fourth screening of Top Gun Maverick. I took her to go see it over that. I think it came out over the holiday weekend. So her and I went to go see it. Even she was like, "Wow, that was good," and she told her friends about it. So if word of mouth is not particular, like you need to see this now, you know. So
They need to do better. But those were those are what our thoughts are on how this whole shit might turn around. I'm just really hoping that within the next couple years, movie theaters aren't starting to really shut down,
well, I mean, we just saw Alamo Drafthouse get
bought by
saved.
Sony.
Yeah, exactly. By being purchased by Sony. My my thing is, Shane, I don't think we're ever gonna get back to where we were with movie going in like 2019. 2019 was just a damn special year, right? And or even 2018. Like I think the days of the now I'm very positive in saying nothing's ever gonna break that end game opening weekend. That is something we are never going to see happen. That 357 million opening weekend domestically. That was insane. I think the only thing that can maybe touch that is another Marvel movie, but at that point, well, at this point, Marvel's in a state right now where people have started to fall off.
Yep.
We're not
It
going to
was an
get there.
event unlike anything that ever was or ever will be.
Exactly. And it's something we'll cherish forever. But I think we can still get back to a place of like No Way Home, right? A certain event film at 260 million open week. I still think we can see movies make 200 million. But I think all the factors that we laid out, I think also Shane too, we're in a like I said earlier, we're in a day where movie going is not if it's not an event, it's not that important. So, why would I tell my buddy down the street to go see Kinds of Kindness? Why would I mean he's not gonna go see it. It's not an event. Why would he go see it? It's not being marketed as an event.
And
It's another
why
movie.
and why take a chance on a random it's like small drama when there's probably other ones on Netflix that you could just watch at home.
It's like guarantee exactly because that and many other like Kinds of Kindness will probably be on Peacock or Apple TV or whatever by the end of July.
Hmm.
So why wait? Why spend the money? Because I was looking Shane at my AMC because you and I both have A-list, but I was looking at those prices for people who don't have A-list, and I'm like, shit, $22 to see a movie in Dolby? God damn. Wow.
No. It's just
Yeah,
like all kinds of no.
yeah, that's insane. That's just one person. But one of my AMC's is like even with that AMC discount chain of like a large popcorn, large drink, it's still like $15, 15, $16
That's $40 to go to a movie for one
for one
person
for one
with
person.
snacks. It's way too expensive. But well, movies sending you all the good vibes. Hopefully things turn around. We'll have to see how the rest of the box office shakes out this year. Maybe we'll have some surprise hits like Joker and Wicked towards the end of the year, or even Craven the Hunter. No, Venom much more likely to make a bunch of money because
Yeah.
it's a dumb fun. Oh.
All right, let me ask you
Okay,
this. When we get to the end of the year, how many billion-dollar films do we have coming the end of the year?
one.
I say two.
I'm going Minions.
I think
Despicable Me 4 is going to be the only one.
I think Minions and I think Deadpool will get there. I think Deadpool will become the second R-rated film to
I
get.
think that I'm thinking 800, $900 million and will just miss. But we'll have to see.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. But Rod, thank you so much for talking movies and money.
Always a pleasure, Shane.
And thank all of you out there for always tuning in, supporting your Wasteland Reviewer.